And he always planned as a water and all these things, and he added more number of the strengthened foods, all the modern science and technology developed, the manures, all those things he added, and both were actually growing what? Apple. Orange. Orange, sorry, very good. You are aware, very alert only. Sometimes I also intentionally make mistake whether to check whether you are awake or not. Alert नहीं है, alert बाद में आएंगे. पहले आएंगे क्या? Awake or not after lunch, right? So what happened after 6 months of time? Fortunately, father grown 100 buckets of orange. Unfortunately, grandfather cultivated only 50 buckets of orange with his traditional knowledge. Now the grandchildren need to choose which technique is best now. Father's technique is best. Therefore, the grandchildren followed his father's technique. Then he started following his father's technique for several years, for several generations. He transferred to his own son, and his own son transferred it to his son. So he became what? He became a grandfather. Now one day, when he was teaching to his grandchildren, the grandchild asked him, grandpapa, क्या बोलते थे? हाँ, दादाजी. The point is, see, even though we are cultivating this much, है ना? But the shelf time, what is that shelf time?
The life of orange.
Life of orange, yes. Shelf time is actually only 1 month. Is it like that when your grandfather teaching to you? This was the question. This grandfather got shocked. Yes. What about my grandfather's time, which I stopped, following his techniques? Then he was actually sat on the chair and he was rewinding back. Then he realized his grandfather's orange shelf value was more than 3 months. His father's cultivated orange, his technique tools and all, what is the shelf value of it?
1 month.
Only 1 month. So now you tell me, producing more is good or producing 50 buckets but keeping it for 3 months is good? Which one is good now?
Producing more.
Producing more. Very good. This is how the society changed you. Right? I'll come to you. Yes, which one is? Yes, because yes, you are keeping it for 3 months means you are not wasting the food. If the shelf value is only 1 month, after 1 month, if people cannot able to eat it, if you cannot able to distribute it, if you cannot able to sell that orange, what will be that orange will go? It will spoil, ultimately go waste. So many years, the oranges what they have cultivated, whether they have sold it or not, that is secondary. But because the shelf time is actually only 1 month, more number of oranges gone where? Gone to the stomach. Stomach? Where? Waste. To the dump yards, right? So now the point, I am connecting with the law here. My dear friends, why I said this story, there was a, law which we are following. The criminology and criminal aspects, the understanding towards crime, what we are having, which was actually we learned it from the fathers, not from the grandfather of the first generation, right? So my dear friends, I am starting my lecture with this photograph. What is this photograph? Any one of you? What is this photograph? Yes, madam. What is your name? Kalyani. Yes, Kalyani. What you are getting it from this?
सर अगर हम एक एक पिक्चर देखें तो हर किसी का रूट्स जो है वो अलग अलग है.
English means subtitles?
Yes. Extremely sorry.
Not a problem.
Roots are completely different from each other. Like
Okay. Roots are completely different from each other. Whether she is right or wrong?
Yes.
Wrong. Right. Right, very good, very good. Hanji?
So the basically as far as we considering the roots, the height of the plants is also changing.
Very good. The height of the plant and the structure of the plant or tree is also changing.
And
Based on what? Based on what? Roots. Very good. Yes, ma'am.
And the density of leaves and
The
plants.
density of leaves, the density of trunk, the density of branch, everything differs. If the root is actually thin and narrow, the trees will be patla and chota. Yes. Will collapse or flexible sometime also, not always collapse, right? If the root is very strong and grown like in a vast area, then which means what? The tree is very strong. In sociology, we used to categorize the social institutions based on two structures. One is base structure. Based on that base structure, all other social institutions have been developed. That is called as superstructure. Root is called as what? Root is called as what? Root is called as what? Base structure. Trees and the leaves, branches and trunks called as what? Superstructure. Yes, superstar nahi. Kaun hai bhai? Superstar. Super. Actually, why I started this? There are 6 institutions which are primary in the society. Number 1, societal institutions. 6 institutions are primary. Number 1, family, marriage, family, kinship. Social institution is number 1, primary institution. Number 2, religious institution. Number 3, economic institution. Number 4, political institution. Number 5, legal institution, law scholars, law department. Legal institutions. And number 6, what is that? Art and expressive institutions. Okay. There are other institutions also, I am not denying it. But these 6 are what? Primary institutions for a societal function. One society is functioning based on this 6 institutions only. The Western philosophers, what they said, right? Law is a part of what? Is a superstructure. Okay, they are agreeing with that. They are not denying that law is a part of the superstructure. Yes, whose forms the content and conceptual apparatus constitute responses to economic development. Agreed, completely agreed. But the second thing is actually, which is somewhere we are differing. The view maintains that law is nothing more than a function of economy, but without any independent existence. They are saying. There we are differing. What Western philosophy's actually concentration is, the superstructures are based on the base structure, that is economic institution, they say. But scholars of the current generation, contemporary generation, differed with that idea. Right? What they said? No. Economy can't be a base structure of one society, because for economic institution also, the norms and moral values has been developed by one institution. What is that institution name? No? Religious institution. Argument for religious institutions as the base structure, my dear friends. Number 1. Can any one of you? Yes? Yes? Any one of you, or you together? Throughout history, societies have been organized around what institution? Religious institution. What have been the central to the development of laws, moral codes and social norms? And you take any ancient civilization, whether it is Egypt, Mesopotamia, Indus Valley, whatever it is, what beliefs were deeply intertwined with the governance and law? Religious institution, yes. Often provide what? Moral and ethical framework. Very good. but you only said it. Economic institution. ज़्यादा orange चाहिए. Shelf value नहीं चाहिए आपको. Law regarding social behavior, property rights and governance have been historically derived from where? Religious teaching. Okay, now religion has historically been source of what? Very good. Then
By establishing a common set of beliefs and practices, religious institutions have meant to create a sense of community and shared identity, which is essential for the functioning of any societal structures,
including what? Including
legal
system. Many early educational institutions, systems were religious in nature and well organized by religious institutions. These systems were responsible for three things, my dear friends. Not only disseminating knowledge and values, it is also responsible for three things. Number one, preservation of existing knowledge. It preserved the existing knowledge. Religious institution wanted it? Preserve the existing knowledge. Number two, it communicated the knowledge. It communicated the knowledge from one generation to another generation. And third, it leads to creation of new knowledge. Right? So, now, if it is economic based, the base structure is economy, right? The law, how the law would have been. And earlier, the base structure was religious institution, how the law was. That's the question comes. So as I told you in the beginning, like grandfather, son and grandchildren, our great-great-grandfathers based the base structure, which institution? Religious institution, which gives the fruit maybe less, but the shelf value of the fruit was more than if you keep the legal institution under the economic institution, will be like, what is your name? Abhishek Shahu का ideology only. अबे more fruits चाहिए बस. अबे एक महीने पे खराब हो जाएगा, वो चल जाएगा सर. ज़्यादा है ना, इतना ज़्यादा है ना. Likewise only, right? So what happened, my dear friends? There was good number of invaders, occupants had been come to our country. They had actually made good number of changes in religious institutions. All these things happened. I'm not getting into those historical aspects, but we are coming to the point of spiritual criminology, right? So what happened? Religion. What is religion? There is a question comes. My dear friends, in most of the societies, due to the fact that many religions do not have a clear concept of God and also the emotional spirituality, they don't have a clear concept towards oneness with nature, they don't have a clear concept of mystery and other feelings, but because of that they don't have any a clear definition towards religion. But for India, Bharat, it's a very clear from the beginning, my dear friends, that religion as a unified system of belief and practice relative to what? Sacred things. Sacred and profane. Profane means what? Ordinary. Ordinary life, ordinary things, right? But another one is what? Sacredness, right? Got my point? So what happened? Criminologists like us, like me, who started thinking, अबे यार ऐसे ही है क्या? Who started thinking shelf value less है. अभी the present criminology, criminological philosophies का present shelf value क्या है? बहुत खराब है. इतना पनिशमेंट दे दो, बाहर आने के बाद क्या करेंगे? दोबारा नहीं करेंगे. वही कर रहे हैं लोग. Recidivism rate is always high. There is no desistance at all. Two concepts. One is recidivism, another one is desistance. What is meant by recidivism? A person who offends again and again even after the punishment. Desistance, which means a permanent state of non-offending. What is meant by recidivism? I repeat, recidivism, which means offending again and again even after the punishment. If you got a punishment, you should get a deterrence, right? You should be get a specific deterrence, others should get a general deterrence. अबे मैं ऐसे करेंगे ना, सर बाहर निकलेंगे इस क्लास से, मैं दोबारा नहीं करता हूँ. एक बार मैं सस्पेंड हो चुकी है, दोबारा करूँगा ना सस्पेंड हो जाऊँगा, नहीं करूँगा. This is deterrence which you are having in your college. If you are not having it, which means the punishment is not effective. The criminal justice system is not effective. So the effectiveness was actually calculated based on what? Recidivism and resistance. The recidivism rate is high, resistance rate is low, which means criminal justice system is not effective. The resistance rate is high, but the recidivism rate is low, which means what? The criminal justice system is very much effective, right? So what happened? Like I told you now that the current generation, grandchild started asking grandfather, पहले आपका grandfather time पे क्या scene है? बता दो बोल दिया था. Then they have started digging for the reality. Then they understood, yes, religious institutions are based, and that too based on the 4 elements of religion. What are the 4 elements of religion? Anyone? Right? Sacred. Yes. Very good. Creation of sacred.
Discipline.
Discipline comes within that. Second one is what? Ritual. Third one. We developed a system of religious beliefs. And fourth one, we have developed the organization of believers. If these 4 elements are there, it forms what? Religion. Yes. And which actually develops, further it develops the other superstructures, right? In a very clear manner. Why? Because religion, number 1, as a support for what? Identity. Religion are based on the sacred beliefs. Religion is a system of moral values and proscriptions. Religion is a system of behavior. Religion as a social institution represents the moral belief system of society. It teaches a moral code that generally reflective of society. It performs the function of helping people express their feeling of spirituality and faith. It performs the functions of conferring legitimacy on a society's norms and values. These are all the role of religious institutions. That's what we are arguing. They are economic nahi hai. Kya hai? Religious. So few scholars across the world started digging it, right? One different scholar started digging it from the Jewish philosophical ideas, Jewish as a religion. A set of research scholars from Christianity religion started digging the understanding of criminal justice system from the principle of Christianity. And again, Japanese scholars, especially Tokyo International Institute of Victimology and Criminology, started digging it from the which principle? Buddhist principles. Unfortunately, in India, we are not digging much, but we started. Why I chose this topic here for this Vishwamanthan? Each and every one of you are requested to dig more about the spirituality and the understanding towards crime from the religious principle of our own country, Bharat. What is it? What is it? Hinduism. We are having good number of religious scripts. It can be, any religion. Even if you want to, search from the Jainism, you can proceed with that. No problem at all. But Bharat ka ideology we need to bring here, because Western philosophy, it explained the criminology in altogether different way. This is completely a Western. I'll tell you Western ideology. What is the problem there, right? I'll take someone's help here who want to volunteer. The last page always. Yes, you. You have a headphone? No. iPod? No. Your friend? No.
I have a wired one if that's okay.
Hi, you're having?
Sir.
Oh, why don't you? the scientific study of what? Nature, extent, cause, and control of criminal behavior. It's an interdisciplinary subject involving 2 or more academic fields. Then now come question: what is deviant behavior and crime? What Western philosophy says cannot be answered in a straightforward manner. Is it true? Is it true or not? Yes. Listen to the music. Listen to the music. I used to do this with my students. Listen to the music. Okay, it's a criminal offense. Yes or no? Now she committed a criminal offense. Yes or no? Yes. You committed a criminal offense. Huh? No? No? She committed a criminal offense. How many of you are accepting she committed a criminal offense? 1, 2, they know the reason behind it. 3, 4, 5. 5 people are saying you are a criminal. Will you agree to answer? No. Majority will not agree to us. Right? Will not agree. Hey, aise kaise hoga sir? She is just listening to the music. How come it become a crime? Okay, fine. She is listening to the music alone in her room. La 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 la. Humming bhi kar raha. It's not a crime. In her hostel room, what's her friend name? Stuti. Stuti is very angry girl, right? Very angry, very much angry girl. By seeing her only, I can understand, right? She was preparing for an exam tomorrow. You are actually, listening to the music, la 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 la, like that. What she will do?
She'll give a tight slap.
Huh?
She'll give a tight slap.
She'll give a tight slap. She's saying. Is it so? Only tight slaps?
I would request her to turn it down.
She is not listening. She is not listening. She is not a good girl.
I would rather go out and study.
अच्छा इतना अच्छा कर रही हो. Okay. Normally what happens, But कल एग्जाम में प्रिपेयर कर रहा हूँ. But this happens. The same, she is actually doing it in her classroom when her principal is taking a class. What principal will do?
She'll be an outstanding student.
She'll be an outstanding student, yes. Thrown out, suspended, disciplinary committee, action, all these things you need to face. Second situation. Third situation, you are listening to the music when your parents were discussing really important about your future life. And you are there, music listening. Right? Same. What's the name you say? Sanskruti, listening to the music when she was summoned by the Supreme Court of India. She is standing in the, a box, witness box or an inquiry box, and she was listening to the music. Sanskrit sir, what you will do? What you will do? Contempt of the court, you will be sent to the jail if that act is considered as criminal act or not.
Yes.
Now you say listening to the music is a criminal act or not?
Yes.
Yes? Yes? Yes. That's what the third point is. Whether an act is labeled deviant or not depends on many factors including location, audience, situation, time, and individual committing the act. If she is less than 18, no problem, it's a juvenile conflict with law. Serious offense तो नहीं है 16 पेयर भी अभी आप 18 पहुंच गए क्या आप भी criminally है. So my dear friends, Western philosophy, which is actually, it cannot clear things because norms vary across culture and time. It makes sense that notion of deviance and crime also changes, my dear friends. So here, the crime and deviance is a violation of established act. All these things, explained by the Western philosophers based on, they are not able to have a clear idea, but based on what? Based on the economic institution. Thank you, Sanskruti. Okay? Return the headphone to her. Otherwise, she'll pay me in university or she'll take money from me. My dear friends, to overcome that, as I told you, the scholars from Christianity, the religious, studies faculties, and the criminology faculties together started bringing the ideology, keeping the religious institution as a base to understand the criminality from the spiritual aspect. Because Western philosophy, categorizes the criminal behavior based on its only benefits. You can note down number 1, crime committed by as a rational choice. What is number 1? Crime committed as a rational choice, like him, our Abhishek Shahu, right? He immediately weighed the cost and benefit. वे ज़्यादा हारे जाएंगे तो एक दिन पे फेंक देंगे and we can earn this much of money, this much of energy. हाँ, खत्म, deal है, right? Same they have weighed the crime committed as a rational choice. In a way, it was planned and executed in a way that the person will not get caught by the criminal justice system. That is the first type of criminal behavior and offenders. Crime by rational choice. Weighing the cost and benefit. Hey, आप मेरे तरफ गलती किया ना, spur of the moment उनको मारेंगे ना, ये वापस मारेंगे, खत्म है, बात ही खत्म होता है. But ना मार दिया ना, अब कहाँ जा रहे हैं? अच्छा, गरम पेड़ से लेफ्ट लेंगे ना, उधर सीसीटीवी कैमरा नहीं है, पुलिस पेट्रोल भी नहीं है, 5-6 लोग तो मिलते लेके जाके आ जाओ भैया, अभी कोई भी नहीं है, फिर उनको पकड़ के अच्छा सा मार. What is it? It's a rational choice, not because of the spur of the moment. It is committed as a rational choice. Number 1. Number 2, crime theories. They said people developed a certain kind of criminality as a trait because of psychology, because of biology. That is the idea of Western. They said, "Hey, criminality by birth है." अबे यार कहाँ से भाई criminality by birth? इतना influence किया these people. Even now in our films, a person villain is always with the इतना बड़ा मोल. इधर एक और cut and the other face. Then he's a villain.
Sir, can you please repeat the second one?
Trait theories. Trait. Criminality developed as a trait based on psychology, based on biological understandings, right? They said we trait here. T-R-A-I-T, trait. Third is actually as a social, developmental theory. How the social environment is, accordingly the person is. Fourth one they said as the progress, social progress. The labeling theory comes. Who you want to tell about you tell me your friend, I will tell you about you. Right? That is called as labeling theory. Fifth one is critical criminology from the Marxian principle. And sixth one is the cartographic school of thought. Environmental, the geographical, location makes an individual to commit a crime. So that comes under developmental theories. So all the criminological aspects they categorized into 6 major category of theories are the criminology. But yes, and fifth. Critical criminology based on Marxist theory, and sixth one is cartographic school of cartography. Cartography means geography. Dead end पे बहुत ज़्यादा crimes होती हैं और in a multiple way or in and way out. In that road there will be more crimes. Isolated place, very good. Dead end पे नहीं होती था because escape route नहीं है. And in Nagpur, when we have conducted the violent crime study, Rivita madam is here. She is a part of a research study. We conducted a research study in Nagpur. We studied 20 years of criminal data of Nagpur, 302, 307 and 323 to 325 of violent offences. 20 years of crime record. All 33 police stations, 7 zones of police departments, all 7 zones. Around 23,000 case files we have actually evaluated with the help of NLU students and Rivita madam and Professor and I myself there, and we found in Nagpur 3 months, all 20 years, 3 months the crime is like You know what those 3 months?
During
April, May, June. Then again July again come down, August come down, October little higher. Then November, December, January, February it's down. Somewhere else. Why? Winter. Yes. Climatic conditions, right? So all these are Western principles, right? Understanding towards crime. So as I told you, economic institution base nikal ke, we need to keep which one? Religious institution as a base and developing the the ideas, the superstructure institutions. That is very much important. When we are trying to do that, comes what subject? Separate discipline. What it is? Spiritual criminology. Developed based on what? Not based on the Western philosophy, which was developed based on economy as a base institution, but spiritual criminology developed based on the base structure, keeping base structure as what? Religious institutions. We keep religious institutions as a base. How actually that evolution has been influenced by the scholars across various countries, each bringing up their own culture, religious perspective, as I told you. Christian scholars brought their Christianity idea. Chinese scholars and Japanese scholars brought their Buddhist principles, right? Jewish scholars from Israel brought their Jewish ideology, understanding the crime from based on religious institutions. But unfortunately in India, which is not emerged, now we are trying as an initiative. See, what I am sharing to you about spiritual criminology, it's an initial understanding only, not an in-depth understanding towards it, because we need to, you all of you need to think a lot about the spirituality and its connection between the legal institution, focusing on crime, focusing on personal laws, focusing on business laws. Each and every laws need to be deployed. It's a small try, my dear friends. So main philosophical approaches to the criminal justice system. It's a general, okay? We understood the concept as a crime and what actually religious institutions said. Now, towards the punishment, what criminal justice system says. The present criminal justice system, which is based on what? Western philosophy and economy as a base. Number one, they think about the past crimes. आप किया ना, कल एक गलती किया ना भैया, क्या गलती किया? उसको जबरों मार दिया, ठीक है, और तुमको क्या करना है? हाथ काटो। इतना क्यों है? हाथ काटो। Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, bone for a bone. That's a Western principle. They never talk about love for love, affection for affection, right? They never said like this, but they said this: eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, bone for a bone. What it is? Thinking about the past crime only. They produce three philosophical approaches. Number one is retribution. Number two is renunciation. And number three is just desert. He was actually creating a problem for the peace of the society. Pakdo, jail pe dalo. Pakdo, jail pe dalo. Pakdo, jail pe dalo. Pakdo, jail pe dalo. If you are doing it like this, what will happen to the jails and prisons? Overcrowded, which is happening throughout the world because of the Western philosophical idea, keeping past crime as a main philosophical approach. From there, thank God they have moved to the next level, considering future crimes. Abhishek, Abhishek. Here after I don't forget you, Abhishek Sahu. Shahu. मैं साहब बोला, मैं साहब. Future crimes, which is actually very recently 2 decades or 3 decades before it got developed, right? In the last, end of the last century, mostly. What it is focusing on what? Reformation, because they understood. अबे इतना जेल पे डालेंगे तो जेल पे जगह नहीं है. Government का क्या होता है? Government need to spend a lot of money on them. Food खाना देना है, security देना है, building develop करना है, basic amenities and facilities देना है, खर्चा बहुत ज्यादा हो गया भाई साहब, पकड़ के जेल में डालेंगे तो कुछ नहीं होगा, थोड़ा उनका रिफॉर्म करके बाहर दोबारा सोसाइटी में बेचना पड़ रही है. So therefore they thought about the future crime, stopping this individual from the recidivism, not to become a recidivist. They developed the philosophical approaches, that is future crimes focusing, reform and rehabilitation, creating the individual and that is called specific deterrence. We can also use it as an individual deterrence. So individual and general deterrence. Another way it is specific deterrence and general deterrence. And again third one is prevention, protection and incapacitation. Third में लेके आया incapacitation. Now from there very recently they have brought the idea of the third one, that is they are think beyond the punishment. What it is? Beyond punishment. First one is started with what? Past crimes. Second one is future crimes. Third one is beyond punishment. Again there three parts they have brought it when the very recent 30 years पे क्या है? Redressing, reparation, restitution and restorative justice. The madam is an expert here. Alternative dispute resolution. Redressal, ADR, mediation, redressing, conciliation. All these things comes, when it has come to the, in the market, legal market. Recently, right? So, why I am telling this? Since we based the legal institution on economy, to reach here or to again, it is not new to us. And again, next slide is actually comparing with the spirituality of Indian perspective, right? That is very important. I'm coming there. To reach here, they have taken many, centuries. But our great grandfathers, spiritual, philosophical approaches to criminal justice, this is we started working like the Christianity principles, what they are doing there in their Europe and the South Asian countries in Japan, Singapore and other places. We in India, a few scholars, it is not getting much attention, but we will, as with the help of all of you in this classroom, we will proceed with again आगे बढ़ेंगे, ठीक है? So, number one, same past crimes, what we are having here for retribution, we have a clear philosophical idea of what? Dharma. For denunciation and just desert, what we had? Societal disapproval of wrong actions. Every religious script of Hinduism has the thought, has a complete, gives you a complete knowledge about karma, gives you a complete knowledge about societal disapproval of wrongdoings. Keeping thinking from what angle? Past crimes. Future crimes, I am coming to the spiritual approach, right? Reform and rehabilitation. What we are talking about? Self-realization. Second one, fear of negative karma, right? The punishment what I have given to you will not bring a specific deterrence. The punishment what I have given to you as a suspension will not give a general deterrence, but the fear of negative karma, which can only be given by our own religious institution, that is fear of negative karma. And third one is prevention, protection, incapacitation. We have a good, solid measures provided by the Then beyond punishment. When it's come to beyond punishment, again, redress. They are having the complete knowledge of what? You self-realization, okay, na? You are having the fear of negative consequences, right? Then क्या करना है आप? प्रायश्चित करना है. How? Reparation and restoration through the rituals and practices which aimed at restitution and repairing the relationships, my dear friends. So again, I am going into deep, punishing the past, crimes based on our Hindu concept. That is number one. of karma is often associated with the idea of retribution. It posits that every action has consequences, good or bad, depending on what? Nature of the action. As I told you, Western philosophies always talks about eye for an eye, blood for a blood, bone for a bone, tooth for a tooth. But our philosophy talks about love for, affection for, good for, bad for, evil, bad for bad. Right? But we have started with the positive connotations. What missing there is no positive connotation. They always think about from the negative aspects. Right? So, this is not an immediate or obvious form of punishment, but a longer term cycle of cause and effect that may play out over a person's life or even into future rebirth. Because our philosophical approach starts before we born. It is not like the day you born and the day you dead, in between khatam. It's not like that. It starts before we born, our birth, and after our death also. It continues after the death of the individuals also. So therefore it is very much strong. That's the reason while measuring of a seriousness of a crime, whether the focus should be on offender's intention, which means what?
Consequences.
Or the consequences, what? Of his or her wrongdoing. Our Hinduism will recognize the importance of consequences, often speaks about the importance of what? Focus more on where? Focus on where?
State of mind.
Abhishekta? State of mind and intention. The intention behind the action, which is very crucial, my dear friends. Moving on to the punishing future crimes, reform and rehabilitation way. Again, we are having a strong base for the criminalistic approach, especially to the criminal justice system. That concept of what? Samskara in Hinduism, which actually allows to the refinement of character and behavior through spiritual practices and ethical living. Therefore, the idea of reform and rehabilitation is in fact central to the idea of what? Spiritual evolution. So punishment in Hinduism is often seen as a way to correct the wrong behavior and to restore dharma. अभी हम लोग अभी क्या हो रहा है ना, गलती किया ना, आज मैं देखता हूँ भाई आपके ऊपर मैं आज एफआईआर डालता हूँ, I will make sure you will be behind the bar tomorrow. मैं ला पड़ा हूँ, मेरे को ऊपर आप किया क्या? Forgiveness ही नहीं है, forgiveness तो बहुत years हो गया, भूल गया हम लोग, right? ऐसे मेरे को ऊपर पैर लग गया, then use all the B words, then fight, send him to the prison, whatever. But it's not about punishment. Punishment in Hinduism is often seen as a what? Way to correct the wrong behavior and restore dharma. Manusmriti, Dharma Shastra prescribes various forms of the rehabilitation and reintegration aspects. Then again, we approach Modan Swadharma, which means the unique nature of each person's path. The religious principle supports the notion of rehabilitation, viewing it as a process of restoring what? Dharma, and encourage individuals to take responsibility for their actions, which is very much important. See what happens, my dear friends, if you go to the prison. I had worked in a prison for 3 years in Tamil Nadu prison department. We are having the rehabilitation centers within the prison. There are good number of psychological tools we are having, and we are giving the rehabilitation. There is one tool, for example, big five personality techniques we are analyzing, right? And we are giving a cognitive restructuring therapy to the individual. 100 prisoners we are giving. If all the 100 prisoners are having the cognitive problem, cognitive as a base for commission of crime, cognitive restructuring therapy will work. This person is committed because of economy. This person is committed because of the social, learning and labeling. This girl is committed because of, spur of the moment. This boy is committed as his rational choice. Will it work to all 100 in the same way? No. Though if you are giving a rehabilitation technique to 100 people, it will work only those people, those who have been committed that mistake because of that cognitive problem. Otherwise, it won't affect you. But spiritual criminological focus, not that understanding, self-realization, right? Make that person to understand the ultimate reality, which comes first in spiritual criminology, my dear friends. And moving on to the last, that is restorative justice. Restorative justice is again for Western, it's completely a newly emerged or emerging field. Like they represent the philosophy that center on what? Healing, accountability, and reconciliation in the aftermath of harm caused by conflicts, crimes, and wrongdoings. Again, shift focus from merely punishing the offender to acknowledging the broader impact on victims, communities, and need for their repairing the relationship. It's a multifaceted process, and it involves addressing the emotional, psychological, material consequences, and it's just not just about repairing material damages, but also restoring dignity, facilitating emotional closure, and encouraging the personal growth. Again, this is also based on economical aspects, right? Of course, the core principle is victim-centered approach, offender accountability, community involvement, healing and reconciliation, collaborative decision making, balance, equity, and fairness, which they are actually bringing now. But it was followed by our great grandfathers. Then, what was the base structure? The religious institution was the base structure. Now they are proposing, 5 R's. What they are proposing is, first one, reparation. For that, what our great-great-grandfather followed? Dharma. Restitution. What our great-great-grandfathers followed? Ayashita. Repayment. What our great-great-grandfathers followed? Dharma. Pay to karna hai bhai sahab. Reconciliation. What our great-great-grandfathers followed? And last one. Reintegration. So now what we are doing is, like an orange, for many centuries we followed focused more on growing more orange, but forgotten the shelf period, which is very much effective. Now again we are going back to our great-great-grandfathers ideology of how to make an orange which can survive for how many months? 3 months, which is effective in nature. So that is called as spiritual criminology, my dear friends. To prevent crime, we need a strong means of social control. We need a great influence upon personality development. We need a fear of unknown. Fear of unknown is required in the society. When you don't know certain things, you will not do it. You will have a fear of doing it. If you know it, that is what it involves. It's a potential threat and actual threat. अभी उनको मैं अभिषेक मैं आपको मारता हूँ ये कौन से ना was it? Then you get that potential threat. अबे यार इस आदमी तो बहुत मोटा है मारेंगे तो मर जाऊंगा. But if I beat it, I got it. अरे ऐसे क्या? And you get the actual threat. After getting actual threat, now you understand. अभी कुछ नहीं है दोबारा मार सकते. Then मैं खत्म. Right? So that is what when it's come to prevention of crime, we need the fear of unknown. Individuals need comfort, strength, and hope in times of crisis and despite. There is a need to preserve and transmit knowledge, skill, spiritual and cultural values and practices. We need an instrument of change. We need to promote closeness, love, cooperation, friendliness, and helpfulness, my dear friends. And last, need a psychological diversion from unwanted life situations which can be given only by the religion and spirituality, which we are going back. Thank you for the opportunity. We'll open for the question and answer. Yes, ma'am. Spiritual criminology.
So much dependent on your inner reflection. So what if there is a resistance in person for that? So
That's what, because if you follow the modern way of approach, which you base the understanding from the economy, which we are immediately said, when I ask which orange, which type of agriculture you say more orange, right? That kind of attitude, no, which actually resists you from the self-realization. But if you are connected towards the spirituality doesn't mean nothing. It's a journey towards self-realization. What it is? It's a journey towards self-realization and to get an ultimate understanding towards reality. So you need a spirituality to understand the self-realization, to understand the reality, ultimate reality. Therefore, you will not get the resistance towards going toward. Thank you. Good question.
Sir,
Okay, first, you only second raised. Order. You raised.
No problem.
Proceed.
I'm Jinmay Phadke. I'm from Babasaheb College of Law, England, Nagpur. The question I had was, in first slide, there was you explained that there is a difference between a profane and a second life. So what is the exact difference in a practical life between speaking a profane and second life?
See, the idea behind our ancestral religious belief. Now, most of the religions across the world doesn't have the clear understanding towards religion. It doesn't have the understanding towards clear concept towards God also, emotional spirituality also. But they are keeping it as a religion. Ours is actually very traditional old. At that point of time only we clearly separated what is actually sacred and what is profane ordinary life. For example, where is it? This trifle you take. This trifle they are offered to me. Why they offered to me?
Because it is considered
Honor, sacred. What is the real meaning behind it? You know that?
Gives a fruitfulness of your job.
Fruitfulness, okay.
Water inside coconut is 100% distilled.
100% distilled water inside the coconut. Very good.
Pure.
Huh?
Pure.
In South, actually, if you go now, people, if you go any new person, since I'm from Tamil Nadu, I don't know I don't know the reason behind giving these people in this Maharashtra. But if you go to South, even any new officer comes, they'll give you a lemon. Even I go in many occasions, they used to give me a lemon as a token of welcoming you. I started digging out. Cue lemon then I digging out. This was a practice from the ancient civilization that they made lemon as a sacred thing. Whenever there is a new king comes to the power, the whole public goes to the darbar and he offers a lemon to the king. Why? The only fruit in this world, during the tender also it gives the same taste. When it ripen also gives the same taste. When it dry also it gives a same taste. It never changes its taste, right? So they have given it to the king. अबे आपके सामने एक poor आदमी आएंगे, आपके सामने एक बढ़िया rich आदमी आएंगे, आपके सामने someone who is knowledgeable आदमी आएंगे, some illiterate भी आएंगे. You have to be same like this lemon wine. Started from that tradition. Even now, any officers comes newly joined, taking a charge of district collector or IPS officer, subordinate officers comes and offer him lemon. Sacredness. We made that sacredness with some, ideology in that, with some kind of, philosophy in that, and we are very clear about it. Sacredness makes people to follow it. Ordinary life, if you make something ordinary or profane, Mama said, if you offer puja daily, you will get 100 marks in your exam. You will do it. If you offer puja, you will be good. I am already good, Mama. Yes? Thank you.
Sir,
Kashi Sharma, you can ask in college also. I'll take your question last, Rashi Sharma, if required. Otherwise, we are every day, we are meeting and discussing.
Sir, you gave the college exam. I asked question right from
Orange
examples.
11 example.
No, college exam. Just
Beginning.
Yes. You said that the orange that has a shelf life of 1 month now. You are going towards the spirituality. Do you think the spoiled seed of the new orange and the spoiled land in it will be grown can reap the fruits that the earlier are great that others used to eat?
See, the point why I have given this idea is actually, you are saying, what if that one was wrong?
No, sir, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the current spoiled seed. Can it go back to that seed?
Yes. See, you need not, that's what I am telling. Don't sow the same seed. Change the seed. We need to change the seed. The same seed was actually taught based on economic institutions. We need to change it.
So I don't agree on that.
Will it transform back to that seed?
But sir, new reapings are of the new seed.
God is gone. Yes, we have suffered a lot. God is gone. God is gone. We cannot bring back. But the future आपको देखना पड़ेगा.
But how do we have not seen any changes that the future is bringing towards us. Crime is day by day increasing.
That's what I am telling now, guys. Because the law and legal institution which was based on the economic institution, which economic institution more towards production and distribution, cost and benefit, weighing it. And you are giving the punishments, rehabilitation, reintegration, everything based on that aspect. What is required is we need to completely change the plans. Then it will lead to a change. If you are asking me what already happened earlier, it happened.
But that happens, is the change possible?
Possible है. That's what I am telling. Possible है.
Sir, हमने बात किया alternate dispute resolution. We are not aware of it. It's mostly for corporates.
No.
It is not happening in crime field in India.
No. It is not only for corporates. Not at all.
So in India, which crimes, sir, murders are settled outside courts?
See,
I'm not talking about
victim offender, sir, victim offender mediation. Victim offender mediation is actually working on. It is not, victim offender mediation is not corporate. I'll tell you, in India, I'll tell you. In India, there is a concept, forgiveness, as I told you. If you don't have a concept of forgiveness, it creates a revenge. That revengeful act leads to a continuous of that, violent crime. Someone killed my family member, I'll kill their family member. Their family member will find my family member. Where is the stop? Continue. But to stop that, we are having a method of alternative dispute resolution. Now also, earlier also. Another aspect I am telling you. Again, I am coming into this aspect. It might be, little straightforward. I am happy to do that also. The modern court system, I am telling you. The modern court system, a person got affected, he is a victim. He committed the mistakes towards me, he was offender. He will actually taken by the police to the court. I will again to the court. He will be actually, pleading there. I am also pleading there. That pleading goes for how many years? Years and years, right? Then whether what kind of punishment given to the offender, will the victim knows in this present situation, present system? No, right? But don't think that I am justifying the Kaap Panchayat, but take the Kaap Panchayat which is happening in the society, in the village levels. Of course, there is a caste domination, of course, there are other dominations are there. Remove those caste domination or other dominations, the Kaap Panchayats are the very good way of justice delivery system. They will call the offender, आप victim में आजा, क्या किया वो किया क्या, अभी क्या करना है, सर ऐसे करना है, चलो ठीक है भाई एक बार कर दिया था, उनको एक दोबारा नहीं करना है, आप करेंगे तो you will be sent out from the community and you will give this compensation to her within 1 or 2 days पे Kap Panchayat के problem settle, right? So that Kap Panchayat was actually based on our earlier techniques only, system only, which we are actually forgotten, or we have given some other color to it, caste color or religious color to it, then we are not following it. But by strengthening it, by bringing back to it, we can decentralize the criminal justice system.
Sir,
Yes? How many questions I can take, sir?
sir, मैंने मार भी खाया तो इसलिए भी बता था।
मार भी खाया। There are good number of questions, but yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Myself Anuj Sharma. Sir, Anuj. Sir, my question is that before British law, which was governed by Western philosophy, the Indian criminology system was governed by religious beliefs only. That is, there were Mughals and it was governed by Islamic principles.
They are invaders.
But don't you?
Knowledge starts before that. That's what now you need to unlearn many things. Unlearn it and relearn karna. Even criminology is also doing the same thing. Unlearn all the Western philosophies related to crime.
But don't you think this approach is much rigid one, and because the crime is based on morals and morals changes as society change. मतलब आजकल मेरे दादा के वक्त संस्कार कुछ अलग था, अब उनको उनके प्रिंसिपल्स अलग थे. Now my principles are bit different as generation changes. So nature of crime भी change हुआ है थोड़ा. So rigid नहीं होगा ये.
See, that's what I'm telling now. Morals, norms and values changing over here, that becomes a big problem in the society. That morals, values and the ethics which are traditionally followed were very much established and empowered one. The recent, invasions or the modern contemporary globalization and other, the modern, way of lifestyle which is changing us. You are saying, since those moral values and principles are changed, let's change the punishment, let's change the definition for crime also, which actually spoiling the society. You are not understanding that.
Actually, the economic.
It is, in certain things, we need to be rigid, and people are started rigid across the world, which we are not doing. You go to the, I had been to Japan. When I was doing the same research, spiritual criminology research, I was in Tokyo International Research Institute. Okay. I was sent to stay in one guest house. I was a part of that team. They sent me to the guest house. Morning 6:30. Calling bell was actually rang by the people. I came out. One fellow, Japanese fellow, with the dump yard vehicle. He was with the dump yard vehicle. ऐसे किया, maybe ऐसे किया. बोला साथ में आ जाओ. बोला क्यों? कचरा पकड़ लेना है, पूरा सीट पे आ जाओ मेरे साथ बोल दिया. मैं तो गेस्ट हूँ, इंडिया से आया, मैं नहीं कर सकते. नहीं आपने ले लिया ना, आना पड़ेगा मेरे साथ. Then I called the person. He said, "Oh yes, sorry professor, it's a community involvement, which is our morals and values and principles which are following for many generations. You need to follow it." Then what I need to do? You go with him just to see whether he collecting all the garbages from all the houses or not. Number one. Number two, also make sure your neighbors are segregating the garbages and delivering the garbages based on segregation of water. Each day, one family need to take the responsibility. Unfortunately, the turn is in our guest house today. You whoever is staying there need to do it. Otherwise, you wait. I'll send someone from the office to do it. I'm happy to do it, sir. I'll do it. I gone with them to collect what? Garbage. Indian diplomat. Indian का national law university professor है भाई, scholar है criminology पे, maximum scholar है, Fulbright scholar है, नहीं होगा. We need to follow the moral values and principles of Japan. And I gone with them. It had helped me in two ways. Number one, this fellow working or not, I have made sure. Number two, all other my neighbors are actually giving the garbage in a separate or not, I made sure. Number three, I got to know about each and everyone in that street. After 1 month I returned, they host me a good party. Community involvement. So how they actually preserving their own religious institutions, values, morals, ethical principles, which need to try to prevent it there, which unfortunately not happening in the country India because of various invaders even now in a form of mobile phone, in a form of social media, in form of many other ways and means.
Sir, here.
This will be the last question for the session.
I have a question.
Sir,
You select.
sir,
Sir, I've been raising hands for like 5 minutes.
sir, what to do? Sir?
It is very important. Absolutely.
So don't become religion.
No question.
Anything, yes. Sir, you decide, sir, I'll have decided. No, after session also we can have. Don't worry, I'll share my mobile number and my email ID. You can be in connect.
Sir, this will be beneficial for everyone.
It is also beneficial for everyone.
Sir, I think there is a fundamental difference between religion and spiritualism. Because religion is sometimes anti-human also. If we take some examples, some religious scriptures, they are anti-human also. They are changed according to the situation because spiritualism is philosophical aspect. The major terrorism or major countries which are following like extreme Islamic countries, which are half of the world are the major problems of separation, alienation and other related problems they are facing because of the Islamic, they say they are completely brainwashed and they say that Islamic principles are actually harmful to the human society and other things like this are going on. So the orthodox principles of some religion, how can they, we can find some spirituality in it and is there any scope to change?
See sir, again I am coming back. This is a good question. See my friends.
Same question on the line.
Same question on the line.
My question was that we have seen many crimes which are based on where the offenders are saying, I want a divine intervention and it was because of how I was following up God told me to commit this crime. So if spirituality is there to protect and bring people on the good line of righteousness, then how to control these kind of, like he mentioned about Islam professing a kind of spirituality. So there are different forms of spirituality. So how it differs from people to people, sir. So how to control it based on, is there a broader perspective?
Good. I'll just mix, it is relatedly similar questions only. So my dear friends, this society, always keep it in mind, which is very much competitive. Why competitive? Why competitive? If you ask this question, the resources which are actually required for the survival of this human being or for the development of this human situation, which is scarce in nature, most of the natural resources. What happens when the resources are scarce? Acquiring to that resources, which actually makes people to do it. For example, this water bottle is required. Pani chahiye. I am keeping it here. Anyone can take it and have the drink. Who will take it now? This water bottle.
Those who are near.
She will take it immediately because she is near to it. Now I am again opening. Anyone can use it, take it by using your physical strength also. Then who can able to snatch it? Abhishek, maybe Abhishek or Rashi Sharma. Very good. Right. And I am saying, whoever can able to use it and you can make your political thinking, you can form an alliance, you can form a group, then acquire this and split it and use it. Then what forms there? Alliance, people join their hand together, all these things happens. So what happens when the materialistic things comes first? Things comes first. All these things happens. Now what happened? All the religion, as he stated, like you take Islam, you take Buddhism, you take Jewish principles. What is happening in Israel and Palestine? You take any kind of religion. No religion actually propagated for violence. But what made that is actually the materials which has come, overcome to that. Monopoly over natural resources, monopoly over the economy, monopoly over the defense, monopoly over the information communication technology. This monopolies now, whoever monopolizing this, they will be in control and superpower. For this monopolies, people are actually bringing the religion and making the quarrels across the world. And they are creating a problems between the people based on religion.
Religion is actually not the solution.
Religion is the solution. When it becomes a solution, keep the religious institution as a base structure. Don't keep the economic institution as the base structure. Now what is happening? That's the reason in the beginning only I told you, keeping the economic institution as a base structure and keeping all other institutions as a superstructure, which creates a problem. What problem is happening across the world, including crime, is because of this. This is an argument from my side. You think more about it. I'm not, want you to agree complete to it. I don't want you to agree. This is my strong opinion. This is my argument. You provide, you develop your own argument, or you can counter it also. I welcome that. But changing the base structure, base institution towards religious institution, which helps to develop the other institutions in a strong and a divine way, in a spiritual way.
Sir, one connected question to this. Sir, this is happening because of non-understanding of the spirituality. The
Yes.
main cause.
Yes.
So, how to inculcate the spirituality into the individual, those who doesn't have that kind of environment.
See, that's what now there are various methods, various ways, various ways of lifestyle change. There are many things are there, which is, a very vast question what you asked. We will discuss this one. Okay? Thank you guys.